Can you forgive someone who has not directly hurt you? Sometimes people will say in the comment section how they forgive me for the shooting that I committed when I was 16. And others will respond, if you wasn't there that day, you shouldn't be saying anything about forgiveness. Now let me say I'm not doing all of this because I'm looking for forgiveness. I've had conversations with many former classmates and staff, and some have forgiven me. Others never will. I understand. But forgiveness is a powerful thing, more so for the one doing the forgiveness than the one receiving the forgiveness.
Pause here to read about the physical benefits of forgiving other people.
And people who hold on to anger are more likely to lash out and hurt others. And we want to prevent that, especially because misdirected anger happens all the time where people lash out at those who didn't directly hurt them. So let's talk about it. What does forgiveness actually mean? And can you forgive somebody who didn't directly hurt you? So remember, forgiveness is not saying that you're forgetting or that somebody should be held accountable or that you're going to let them back into your life. Forgiveness is simply saying, I'm not going to hold on to the resentment I have towards somebody. I'm going to move forward with my life, and I'm not going to allow anger to be one of the things that runs me. And some people would say no one else can enter into this forgiveness process unless they too were directly injured by the person. This is the primary form of forgiveness that we are most directly understanding and believing in. But there's two other forms of forgiveness to look at. I'm sure a lot of you would agree with secondary forgiveness, and that happens when you weren't directly hurt, but somebody like your family member or a close friend was. And yet you're able to sit back and say, I wasn't directly hurt, I wasn't directly bullied or whatever it was, but I'm going to forgive the person who hurt my loved one. And the third form of forgiveness, tertiary forgiveness, as this one writer calls it, is when somebody who's distant away from the situation is able to forgive the person who did wrong, meaning they're not going to hold on to the resentments that they normally would. Because to me, when people say, if you weren't there that day, you can't forgive him, it kind of makes me think, well, with that same logic, you could say, if you weren't there that day, you can't be mad at him. But of course you can be mad at me. And if you decide to let that anger go, that's forgiveness. So yeah, I believe people who weren't there that day or people who weren't affected by, any type of trauma you want to talk about around the world, you can let go of that resentment that you have towards somebody who did wrong, and you can forgive them.